Novel, Ancient True Human, Remake, Chapter 5, The Grand Aperture's Unveiling. In an instant, the surroundings fell silent as a tomb, countless gazes converging upon Fang Yuan. As expected, it only grows more intriguing. Fang Yuan inwardly chuckled, entirely unperturbed. He stepped across the shimmering blue river, his footsteps firm as he placed them on the far bank. Immediately, an invisible pressure bore down upon him. This pressure emanated from the spiritual spring hidden deep within the sea of flowers, where the primordial energy was overwhelmingly dense and overflowing, creating an encompassing force. Yet, swiftly, from the cluster of flowers at Fang Yuan's feet, a wave of pure white light spots soared upward. These shimmering motes floated, enveloping Fang Yuan's entire body, and finally, all of them streamed into his being. "These are hope goo," Fang Yuan whispered inwardly. Though the elder in charge offered no explicit explanation, he was already intimately familiar with them. Each of these light spots was a goo, named Hope Goo. A very ancient legend tells of the Hope Goo. It is said that when this world was newly formed, it was a boundless wilderness, with savage beasts running rampant. The first human to appear was named Ren Zu. He ate raw food and drank raw water. His life was incredibly difficult and perilous. Especially, there was a bloodthirsty beast called confinement, which loved the scent of Ren Zu and sought to devour him alive. Ren Zu possessed no body as hard as stone mountains, no fangs or sharp claws like wild beasts. How could he contend with these confinement beasts? His food source was utterly unstable. He spent his days hiding here and there. When natural food became scarce, he was almost on the verge of not being able to survive. At this time, 3 goo worms actively sought him out and said to Ren Zu, "As long as you use your life to nourish us, we shall help you overcome your difficult trials." Ren Zu was at the end of his rope and had no choice but to agree to these 3 goo. He first used his youth to nourish the largest of the 3 goo worms. That goo brought him strength. Relying on strength, Ren Zu's life began to improve. He started to have a stable food source and could protect himself. He greatly enjoyed brutal combat, defeating many confinement beasts. But very quickly, he tasted bitterness. Eventually, he discovered that strength was not omnipotent. It also required recovery and recuperation. It could not be expended at will. Moreover, with vast hordes of confinement beasts everywhere, his individual strength was truly too minuscule. Ren Zu learned from bitter experience and decided to use the robust vigor of his middle age to nourish the most beautiful of the 3 goo worms. Thus, the second goo brought him wisdom. Ren Zu, possessing wisdom, learned to question and self-reflect, and so began to accumulate experience. He discovered that applying wisdom was more effective than applying strength. Relying on cunning and strength, he conquered many objectives he previously could not, slaying even more confinement beasts, even devouring their flesh and drinking their blood to survive with tenacious resilience. But good times were short-lived. Ren Zu grew old, increasingly decrepit. This was because he had offered both his youth and middle age to strength goo and wisdom goo. Once a person grew old, their body withered, and their thoughts became sluggish. "O human, what more can you give us? You have nothing left to offer us." Upon discovering this, strength goo and wisdom goo heartlessly departed. Ren Zu, having lost his strength and wisdom, was discovered by confinement and fell into a siege of beasts. He was ancient, unable to run. His teeth had all fallen out. He couldn't even chew wild fruits or greens. He collapsed powerlessly to the ground, surrounded by swarming confinement beasts, his heart filled with despair. Just then, the 3rd goo worm spoke to him. "O human, nourish me, and I can help you escape confinement." Ren Zu wept, saying, "O goo, what more do I have? You see, strength goo and wisdom goo have both abandoned me, and I have only a meager span of old age left. Compared to the years of middle age, old age is insignificant, but if I offer even my old age to you, my life will instantly end. Though I am currently surrounded by confinement, I will not die immediately. I still wish to live a little longer, even if it's just for a second. So, you must leave. I can no longer offer you anything. The Gu replied, Among the three Gu, my requirements are the least. O human, you only need to give your heart to me. Then I shall give my heart to you at once. Ren Zu immediately said, But O Gu, what can you give me? Here, in this desperate situation, even if strength Gu and wisdom Gu were to return to my side, it would change nothing. Compared to strength Gu, this Gu was very frail, just a tiny speck of light. Compared to wisdom Gu, this Gu was very dim, able to emit only a faint, thin white light, devoid of any vibrant brilliance. Yet after Ren Zu offered his heart to this Gu suddenly radiated boundless light. In this light, the confinement beasts cried out in terror. This is Hope Gu! Flee quickly! We confinement fear Hope the most. The confinement beasts instantly scattered in panicked flight. Ren Zu was dumbfounded. From that moment on, he knew that when facing confinement, one should offer their heart to Hope. And at this moment, the Hope Gu, forming a stream of white light, had entered Fang Yuan's body. Due to the pressure from the spiritual spring outside, they quickly gathered at the location of his primeval sea, 3 inches below the navel, automatically forming into clusters. Fang Yuan immediately felt the pressure distinctly lessen. He took a measured step forward, continuing his advance. With each step, more Hope Gu continuously flew out from the sea of flowers, entering his body and joining the gradually accumulating stream of light. The stream of light grew larger and brighter with each passing moment. However, the elder in charge on the other side of the river slightly furrowed his brow. The quantity of these Hope Gu seems a little low. Many elders, still secretly observing Fang Yuan, couldn't help but feel their hearts sink at this sight. The clan leader also frowned. This was absolutely not the phenomenon a grade A aptitude should exhibit. Fang Yuan resisted the pressure, persistently stepping forward. Under 10 steps signifies no cultivation aptitude. 10 to 20 steps is grade D aptitude. 20 to 30 steps is grade C aptitude. 30 to 40 steps is grade B aptitude. 40 to 50 steps is grade A aptitude. As of now, I have taken 23 steps. Fang Yuan calculated inwardly. 24, 25, 26, 27. Fang Yuan silently counted in his heart. At the 27th step, he seemed to hear a resounding boom, deep within his being. The cluster of light between his kidneys, accumulated to its limit, suddenly exploded with immense force. This explosion occurred only within Fang Yuan's body. Outsiders were completely unable to detect it. Only Fang Yuan instantly felt a profound, world-shaking mystery. In a flash, the hairs on his entire body abruptly stood on end. His pores clamped shut. His mind taut as a suddenly drawn bowstring pulled to its absolute limit. Suddenly, all thoughts in his mind vanished. His entire body went limp, as if falling into a swirling cloud. The bowstring in his heart relaxed, the hairs on his neck smoothed, and all the pores on his body opened. In an instant, his entire body was covered in a thin layer of sweat. This process, though long in description, was incredibly brief in reality. Came swiftly and vanished just as abruptly. Fang Yuan was lost in thought for only a fleeting moment. His spirit had fully returned. He secretly focused on examining his internal body and discovered that below his navel, directly between his kidneys, an empty, oval-shaped space had suddenly appeared, radiating primordial energy. Aperture opened successfully. This was the primeval sea, the foundation of a Gu master, the starting point of cultivation, the hope for the path of eternal life and immortality.